our guest speaker today. He's out of Rapid City, South Dakota, in the Black Hills area. Um, long time agent, but probably arguably one of the most successful agents in farmers. 36 toppers, I believe 18 president's councils, massive agency in terms of premium and policies and servicing his community. He's got awards for things that I don't think have existed in a very long time. But at the same time, he's still doing it today. He's still one of the top producing agencies out there and does a great job continuing to shift his focus and making sure that he's shifting with the industry itself. He's been an agency owner since 1977. Is married and has two children, two daughters. Emily works within his agency. His daughter Lindsay is an assistant U.S. attorney, I believe, down in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. He graduate from South Dakota State University, and he even has his certified financial planner designation. So on the next slide, there's a huge laundry list of things that Dave does well and does in his community and is a part of. I think if we could all do 10% of what he's doing to help the world become a better place, I think we'd all be in good shape. But I'm done talking now. I want to introduce Dave to chat a little bit about him, his operation, and a few of the things that he's excited about in 2025. So, Dave, welcome. Appreciate you being here and sharing some of your knowledge with us.
Morning. So, I'm going to probably challenge you with some things, some questions that I have just to get you to critically think about your operation and how you juxtapose who you are and how you present yourself compared to everybody else. And then we can talk a little bit about some of the mechanics of how we make all that happen. So my first question is, and I got several of them, you can write them down, but what really makes you different? The second question is, and these aren't in any particular order, is what is the highest growth and highest margin segment in your business? Where do you make the most money for the least amount of expense? Third question is, when you meet with a prospective client in your office, how many people are in the room? Do you structure insurance different to make you unique? And then what are you doing that doesn't really cost you money to tie that relationship into your agency? So I want to go to and then the last one is, do you have accounting software so you know exactly what your expense ratios are, when you can put on staff, et cetera, based upon empirical numbers? So what makes you different? When people come into your office, and we try to have every client come into our office, and there's always a difference, in my opinion, between a customer and a client. A customer buys on price, leaves on price. A client is relationship oriented. And you've seen the numbers about if people have multiple lines of business with your agency, what the retention is. The highest growth, highest margin business in your agency is probably FFS. Once you write a FFS account, you don't have people calling you for certificates of insurance, claims, billing issues, rate increases. They're calling you usually because they want to put more money in. And the retention with an FFS client in your agency increases about 10 to 12%. And it was actually the genesis of FFS back in 2000. So think about that. Where's your highest growth, highest margin business? And you got many tools in your toolbox. And are you using those tools? you have a value proposition that nobody else has. And let me give you an example where I had a wake-up call and it really came to light. I had an individual that came into my office and said, I want to buy a $2 million life insurance policy from you. So we got it done, and I said, Kevin, I need to ask you why you ask me to write a $2 million insurance policy on your family. It's just usually we have to initiate that dialogue with the client. And he said, because I can't see my wife dealing with the agent that writes my insurance now if I die. So I think sometimes when we think about writing life insurance, we're looking through the lens of our own lens. We're thinking about it from our perspective rather than their perspective. And so think about that. Who can take a death claim and transition it into an income stream? So when a death claim happens, I'll do a cash flow analysis with the client, tell them not to do anything for a couple months, and then we transfer those tax-free proceeds into usually an income stream with the capital group, the American funds. So you can take $1 million life insurance payment and now transition it into FFS. You're never going to lose those people. And so I think you need to look a little bit downstream of your value proposition that you really have with people. Next, when I said, how many people are in the room? You're probably going, I see you went to South Dakota State. Can't you add? The answer is 3. The person sitting across the room, yourself, and the incumbent agent. Because everything that you say and everything that you do, everything they see is being compared to what they have now. So how do you differentiate that? So you have to take those first impressions when they come into your agency, how they're greeted. Who's one of the most important people in our agency? It's the individual that greets the people in the front. That creates the first impression. People come into your agency and they talk to you they're going to be in one mode, positive, a neutral, or a negative mode. And you got to be able to always move them from neutral to positive. Every person that's a producer in our agency has a television screen and a personal office. Those offices all have their doors. They're instructed that when that client is in that office, that door is closed because that's privacy. They need to feel that this is unique. So all of a sudden now they're going, well, this is already different. And we just had this case yesterday with a person that came in that's a window washer. That was their comment. I came in here and I knew it was different. And we're going to write his business probably today. What are the little things that you are missing? You're probably not asking for referrals. Does it cost you any money to ask for a referral? No. Why not walk the individual, if they're a very good fit with your agency, to their vehicle, thank them, and ask them, Joe, Sally, I really appreciate your business, and it'd be an honor if you referred people like you to our agency. You'll be surprised at how that works. Next is every person in our agency is required to send 5 personal notes out every day. It can be somebody that they meet in a grocery store. It can be at an athletic event. It can be in their church. It can be that they met with them. So take the pure math. If your agency has 3 people, so that's 15 notes a day times 5 times 4 times 52. When I first integrated this into our agency, some of my people that are very techie just kind of go, oh yeah, right, that's going to work. Then pretty soon they start coming in and saying, yeah, I wrote this business on this doctor because I sent him a note 6 months ago. Now, why is that? Why is such a simple gesture like that? Number one, it's different in this world of technology. And two, it's personal. So make certain that you do that. Now, I'll just hold this up, but this is what my note looks like. It's a picture of our office, and I can send this. It says from the desk of Dave Schmidt. It's got the farmer's logo and our agency logo on it. Okay. So that's what I send to them. Everybody has somewhat different notes, but everybody's required to send 5 a day. Okay. So if you do those two things, those are marketing things that nobody else is probably doing. Okay. Every producer, everybody at our agency has a business cell phone owned by the agency, owned by the corporation. Why is that? Why would I want to have and build a group of clients to have them on somebody's personal cell phone and they leave our agency and they have those names? So you got to kind of think about, this is a business and you got to protect your business. Everybody in our agency signs confidentiality agreements, and our producers have actual employment contracts. The employment contracts have no competes, confidentiality agreements, and all of their compensation schedules put in there. Subject, just like farmers, subject to change. Yeah. So you kind of set this baseline, and then you start moving from the baseline of all of these little spokes in the wheel. And so if you really think of all the things that we're doing, like a wheel with spokes in it, when you start plucking out a couple spokes, what happens? It's out of balance. Doesn't work as well. The results aren't there. So we just are consistent in our processes, and we continue to do the little things. The great basketball coach, John Wooden, was once asked, so how would you explain your success? He said, a lot of little things done well. Not any one player, not any one offensive play or any secret sauce, but just a lot of the little fundamentals. And I look at business somewhat like a sporting event where now let's just take football. It's just, you can have all the fancy plays that you want, but it all comes right down to blocking and tackling. And who can execute that the best and play the cleanest is going to win. Now, I talked to you a little bit about insurance structure. And this is really, I think, where we differentiate ourselves from everybody else. We do not copy when somebody says, well, just show me what you got. Well, you're at the wrong place then. Because what's the value proposition that you have if you're going to be a car hop and just take their order? So you got to dig down into gathering information, analyzing information, and then you recommend a plan, then you got to monitor the plan and implement it. These are all the precepts of financial planning. So let's just give you an example. You come in, you're going to get from our agency in the presentation, you're going to get a 1% all peril deductible. You're going to get a recommendation to put a Moen water system detection system in because we need to manage risk. You're going to get in some areas where we're going to say, we'll write your insurance if you put a lightning arrestor on your home. It's $1.5 million house that sits on top of a hill. But more importantly, we're going to talk to you about two things. We're going to talk to you about defined risk and undefined risk. We know the value of your property. We do, in Farmers software, it is pretty much right on the reconstruction if you have the inputs correct. But we don't know the value of a third-party liability claim in an auto accident, do we? We don't know if you're going to be involved with a cardiac surgeon at Rochester and he's got a 10% impairment with his hand and he's going to now want $5 million from you. That's undefined risk. So what's the most important thing in your insurance portfolio? It's not your deductibles. It's your liability. We have over 900 and I think 20 umbrella policies in our agency. It's very seldom that they don't go up. We have 10 million umbrellas, 5 million umbrellas, and everything in between. So when you look at structuring insurance and you're competing against somebody else, will this make you different? Yes. And then they'll say to you, nobody's ever presented this to me like this before. So it's easy to blend in everybody. Well, let me quote your insurance. We don't even say the word quote. Let me present some economic concepts and structural aspects to your insurance that you might not have ever seen before, and then you can decide on the merits. When they're sitting across from you and they go, this is different. This is unique. This makes a lot of sense. So a lot of what we're doing has to stand the test of time. And I think you alluded to it in your comments about what it costs to put on a client and retain that client. And so if you're just churning this, and I'll be honest with you, I fear this with this whole internet and social media marketing, because it becomes then a price war and things are not always going to go the way that we want to have them go. There's going to be cats. There could be strains on surplus again. Not that other companies don't have that, but you got to position your people for that. And you got to make it hard for them to want to leave. If they have their auto, home, all their toys, umbrella, financial services, and life with you, do you think they're going to leave? No. Do you think they really care about a 15 or 20% rate increase when you're managing $1 million of their money and they've just got, and you show them, well, since you've been with us since 2015, you've got a 7% return and your investment gain has been X amount, it's six figures. And they look, do you think they really care about that 15% rate increase? And so if that tool is in your toolbox and you aren't using it, you're probably not leveraging your value proposition to the extent that you really can. So we really try to get people into our office. And we really create this culture that when they come in, it's different. Every producer has their TV screens up there. So the client has their recommendations all ready to go. We bind it up in a binder and they can look at the screen and they can look at their bound copy of their proposal. So when you create this culture that is different, you win. When you look like everybody else, you might win, you might not. So we conduct reviews, and we've really had to, because we're getting our hat handed to us here by a competitor, and I don't advocate that we would lower the rates, because I think it would be silly. And I don't really know how to combat it, except just continually do what we're doing. And at some point in time, those things will change. We had a company several years ago that was writing business, American National, I think it was their name. They were writing business like half of what we were. And I got my people together and I said, they're on a respirator. You can't make shoes for $8 and sell them for $6 very long. It just doesn't work. And so some of these things you see in the marketplace, they don't have sustainability. And I would say to you that I think Farmers is positioned right now better financially, better senior management wise than they've ever probably been. It's been a little painful for everybody, but they're ready to go. And Raul and his team, these are very, very capable individuals, and they've done a really good job at positioning us. I don't know, I asked Raul this, I said, well, we have enough surplus if all these cats are increasing and our wildfires, et cetera. Do we kind of need to look at our surplus ratio a little bit differently, because you got quota share reinsurance and you got reinsurance costs? He said, no, we're good. So it's very strong. And in the first quarter, you guys have probably gone through this, when they had the wildfires over in California, I think we still contributed, or farmers still contributed money to surplus. So there's not really a secret sauce. Everybody thinks that when somebody like myself gets on here, there's a secret sauce. I think it's consistency, and that it's differentiating yourself from the rest of the pack. And when I talked to you about, or I made the comment about your accounting, it's really, really important to be able to do that. You're business people. You deal with business people. You need to know what your ratios are. Do you need, what's your expense ratio in your agency? Are you taking too much money out of your agency? My ROI on my agency since 1977 has been 13%. Now I tell you, I can't get 13% in the equity market. So my best return on my money is investing my money back into my agency. That's my best return. So oftentimes you can't keep up with the Joneses. Less is more. I made $4,500 my first year in the business. And I was driving a 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass Brougham. In 1973, I'm driving a 72 Caprice. Now, why is that? Because I didn't really understand. Here's a guy with an economics background. I didn't really care at that time. I'm just a young 20-some-year-old. But I didn't really get my arms around quarterly income tax payments very well. So take less money, live below your means until you really get to a certain structural point where you've got things going. I tell our people, because we compete against credit unions and banks and stuff for people. We have no debt in our agency. We have zero debt. I share that with them. And I tell them, I say, I keep $300,000 to $400,000 of cash in our agency. So you guys need to know that we're rock solid. And I have the ability to loan the company money if need be. Your people need to know that. If they feel that you're operating on a thread, which you can convey that by a lot of, whether they're overt or not, they're going to start looking if they don't have a comfort range that you're rock solid. So the more that you can be a rock solid business person, the more comfort you're going to give your employees that they're with the right people. Right? And our people don't leave. And the average income in our agency is well over $90,000 a year. And they share. When I win, they win. Every month when we get the bonus, they win. I don't just take that bonus and bankroll it. I bonus out probably 30% of that money to various performers. Could be a CSR. It could be the person up front. I'll tell you a little bit about initiative. And this is kind of an interesting little experiment that I had, because I always talk to people about hard work and initiative. I put a Diet Coke can in front of the door, probably it's been over 10 years ago. And I said to the receptionist at that time, she's now passed away, it's Kathy. And I said, Kathy, tell me who picks up that Coke can and puts it in the garbage. Well, all the people came in and one person put it in the garbage. And so I sent a broadcast email out and I said, when you came in today, you noticed there was a Coke can in front of the door. You probably have one or two thoughts. One, that's not my job. Or B, I need to pick it up and put it in the wastebasket. One person who is a farm girl from South Dakota picked it up and put it in the garbage. And I said in the email, only one person did this. And for that, Danielle gets $50 cash. You never know where a little initiative will take you. And they got to critically thinking about that. And they got it. You know, how many people say, well, I'm a producer. I don't take care of this. Yeah, you do. You do what you need to do to make your agency run. So, one of the things, and I can send this to you. I'm going to show this to you. This is Adam Templeton, who's our producer, one of our producers. So at every time that we have a meeting with somebody and we're just writing their auto, home, and their umbrella, he will say, well, we do other things in our agency that makes us unique. We write life insurance and financial services. And then he hands them this handout and everybody gets it and they're all sitting out front. Well, what does that do? That opens the conversation. Would you be willing to talk about the rest of your financial aspect of your family? And Adam has $60 million of assets under management. 60. He's a producer. Now you could fly him all over the country. And you could ask him, what is his secret sauce? And he says, I just ask. Pretty simple. If you don't ask, you aren't going to get a response. And there's also a book out called The Power of Questions. One of the most powerful questions that I have developed over the years, and I have done this predominantly in the commercial business. Mr. Businessman, I have made my presentation to you. Is there any reason we can't do business? No, I think we can move forward with it. Rather than just making a presentation and say, well, thanks for the presentation, ask the question, is there any reason we can't do business? I always tell people, especially in the financial side of it, and this is worked very, very well. I said, if you wouldn't leave your kids or grandkids with me and my wife for the weekend, you ought not leave your money with me. Because what does money come down to? And what does this relationship come down to? Trust. If they don't trust you, they aren't going to leave their money with you, or they really aren't going to leave their insurance with you. So trust is huge. My first big financial service check was an orthodontist that came down and said, Dave, I want to start investing with you. What is the minimum amount that I can invest with you? And I said, because it was true, I said $250 with the Capital Group, American Funds. So the next day he came down and he pulled out his billfold and he said, well, I'm ready to invest in that Growth Fund of America that you showed me. I said, well, thank you, Doc. And I'm thinking he's going to write me a check for $250. He wrote me a check for $250,000. So, and all that was that I asked him for the opportunity. So ask, differentiate yourself, educate yourself. I'm a CFP. Do people really care about that? To be honest with you, they really don't. But I know what I know. I just talked yesterday. This is just giving an example. This is an individual that died, and now I'm managing all the money with his wife. And I said to her yesterday, your AGI is probably too much. And there's going to be probably about $1.5 million. I said, your AGI is too high to have a IRA, but what we could do is she's 60. I said, you can set up a non-deductible IRA and then we can convert it to a Roth the very next day, $8,000. She said, really? My CPA's never told me about that. I said, well, it's referred to in some circles as the backdoor Roth IRA. It's not anything that's illegal. It's just a provision in the tax code that you need to take care of. So those are things that you can talk to your people about that really are unique that no one else is talking to them about. So there's 3 types of IRAs. There's a pre-tax, there's a Roth IRA, and then there's the non-deductible IRA. The Roth IRA is the best thing going out there. That's money that's never taxed versus always taxed. You don't need any RMDs at age 73. Tax-free money is pretty good deal. So our 401ks, most of the people in our agency are putting their money into the Roth provision of the 401k. The other thing that a lot of people don't know is that in a 401k, if you're less than a 5% stockholder or owner and work 30 hours a week, you don't have to take required minimum distributions. So when you start talking to people about these things and these concepts, it goes back to being unique. So I know you guys got to go. I just tried to give you a little flavor of some of the things that we do and we do well. We do a lot of things not so well, to be honest with you. I'm probably a very weak marketer, so you're not going to get a lot of really unique things because I'm more of a relationship, old school referral type thing. And I know I probably have to transition a little bit more into some of the technology side of it, but I would say try to make a customer a client and get them into your office, write the personal notes, tell them you ask them for referrals, tell them you appreciate what they're doing, and say thank you.
Awesome. A lot of great stuff. Really appreciate you hopping on, Dave. Do we have any questions out there for Dave that you guys can chat in before everybody departs?
And I would say for some of you guys where Dave's talking financial services and you're thinking, well, hey, that's not me, or I don't have those licenses. We have great resources. There's, Jeff in Nick's district and Steve Heinen in ours who can come in and be that person for you. If you're asking the question and setting the appointment, to to give you that leverage and give you those products and help you grow your book and retain more clients. So, you know, don't shy away just because you're not licensed. There's great resources out there that can help make you bigger than you are. So,
Well, I've known Steve for years, and you aren't going to find a more quality guy to take care of your people in the financial service world than Steve.
yeah,
Love it.
Good. Dave, impressive presentation, impressive results. Your agency is amazing, and then the amount of time you spend giving back is even greater. And I know when you give back like that, it comes back to you full circle. So just like you're giving us time, I appreciate it. And if we can do anything for you ever, let us know. With that, we'll end this. We'll get you the calendar invite for the FMLA one coming up, and then we'll get you the replay on this if you want to go back and watch any of Dave's stuff. And then he was going to send a couple samples of like the presentation stuff he sends or the cards he sends. We'll share those in our Friday recaps. So appreciate you, Dave. Thanks so much, everybody, for your time. Enjoy your week, and let's have a great finish.
Farmers. Bum, ba, dum, bum, 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 bum.